Nolan's family lived in a rural community at the southeast of Manitoba, Canada. They were a very happy family, and little Nolan would spend most of his time with his older brother, Shawn. It was precisely him who, being just 10 years old one winter afternoon, dragged Nolan to the neighborhood corner store to buy some candy. It was getting dark, and their parents didn't want them being out at the house at night. When they arrived at the store, they saw that the owner's son was behind the register. He was Shawn's best friend, so in that moment, Nolan knew their little trip to the store would now take longer than expected. The friends immediately started chatting, so Nolan decided to walk around the store in the meantime. It was one of those shops that had almost everything: candies, comics, lamps, and even secondhand items. And just at the end of one of the long halls, he saw a flashy video game magazine. It was fascinating, so Nolan grabbed it and sat on the floor to read it. In the distance, he could hear Shawn and his friend talking about girls, which is something Nolan was not interested at all at that point. Time flew by, way quicker than Nolan expected. When he went back to the register, Shawn was no longer there. Nolan looked for his older brother all over the store, but there was no sign of him nor his friend. He went outside and felt a bit scared. He had never been alone at night in the middle of an empty street. Nolan couldn't find his brother in the front side of the store leading to the street, so he decided to look behind the store. It was an area filled with trees, kind of like a park. He started to yell his brother's name, but Shawn didn't respond. Then something caught Nolan's attention. It was a dark figure, which kind of looked like a man. It was tilting its head up and down. It was a really bizarre sight. Nolan was frozen in shock, observing that scene and not knowing what to do. The boy tried to focus his gaze and saw that the figure was not a normal person. He also heard how that creature started producing some sort of bone-chilling growl. Nolan decided that it was best to leave that place, so trying to be as quiet as possible, he started to step back. However, with the swift movement, that strange creature stepped right in front of him. What scared Nolan the most was the stench of that creature. It's as if a pile of rotten garbage had just fallen in front of him. And then he looked at the creature's face. It looked like a toy, like a rag doll with a huge wooden beak that allowed it to breathe. Panic invaded Nolan. He couldn't understand what was going on. The boy turned around and ran as fast as he could. And as he ran, he finally saw Shawn, who also started running after seeing his little brother. They both arrived home safe and sound, but never talked about the encounter with that terrifying creature ever again. After that night, Shawn changed completely, and even though they no longer talked about it, Nolan knew that they were both having the same nightmares. Moreover, they never saw Shawn's friend again. People said that he had to leave the town because of something terrible that happened. Years later, Nolan found a bunch of drawings in the old attic of the house. They were drawings of that strange creature whose image was now burned into his brain and came back to life whenever he closed his eyes. Nolan and Shawn were never the same after that horrible event, and they ended up breaking all contact with each other. Hey there, TikTakers! This was an adaptation of one of the stories we found on the internet about the Seed Eater. They were all compiled in the blog Seed Eater Experiences by Cliff Howry. Through his efforts, we learned that the Seed Eater is a human-like creepypasta with greenish-brown skin, dark and long hair, and a creepy mask covering his face. All the testimonies coincide in pointing out that his smell is nauseating. The blogger who was compiling these stories stopped publishing any more after confessing to his audience that he was having nightmares related to that monster. The thing is, TikTakers, everyone who has seen that creature started experiencing nightmares and other sleep disorders as well. They say that the Seed Eater is capable of infiltrating people's minds. According to them, the seed eater stalks and attacks children in rural areas. Some manage to escape, while others end up being devoured. Now, after all the research we've done to learn more about this creature, today we want to share with you some advice in case you ever bump into him. While he's hunting, it's better to not bother him at all. If you do, he will take that as a provocation. Try to escape, but never try to catch him because you'll never be able to. So it's up to you if you want to take our advice or not, TikTakers. We prefer to follow it so we can sleep well and peacefully at night. Not to mention, to keep living. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode.